That's our indicator. So although you'll hear from a few of the organizers, it'll be Amanda, Karen, Laura, and myself, please do know that there are a ton of people that are involved in this initiative, and we're continuing to add even more people as well as we continue to grow. And they are all passionate about helping you make your mark in science and medicine, including key members from Bunker Hill Community College, MGH, and also the Mass Gen and Harvard Med Postdoc Associations. And I feel so lucky because this team started with Karen and Amanda from MGH Center for Diversity and Inclusion. And now we have an entire team and the list keeps growing. And so it just goes to show how many people are invested in you as students and helping pave your path. So we'll hear first from Amanda and Karen and Laura. So Amanda, take it away.
So my name is Amanda Pickett. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the student project coordinator in the Center for Diversity and Inclusion at Mass General Hospital. And I've been working to support this initiative since September, actually. And just before then, I think last summer, Rose came to Karen, who's going to introduce herself after me, and said, I've got this brilliant idea to support community college students, and I want to offer this mentoring program concept. And it's come so far since then. And I'm so delighted and so honored to be administrative role supporting the operations for this project. Karen.
Hi, everyone, and I will keep my comments short, but Karen Osborne Green, I'm the Administrative Director for Research for the Center for Diversity and Inclusion, and I just want to take a minute to thank Rose for having this idea and initiative, and not only having it, but bringing it to our attention and allowing us to kind of help and to support her. Like Amanda said, there's tons of people that were filling out doodle polls regarding their availability and meeting and taking time out of their day. So we are looking forward to creating this this program with you and helping you to be all that you can be in your career. So we look forward to the discussion ahead. Thank you so much for joining.
I just want to say good afternoon. So I'm Laura Rubin. I'm the Dean for Science, Engineering, and Math at Bunker Hill. I think a lot of you have seen my name in your emails recently, and I want to take this opportunity to thank you for spending this time with us. This group really is interested in learning more about you and hearing from you in your voice via the chat or speaking or email after about what you think would be of a benefit to you and helping you decide, what pathways would be the best for you. You may have an idea already of what you're thinking about doing in the future, but I hope that you'll be open to hearing about other pathways as well that you may have heard of or you may not have heard of. And we want to make sure that you have connections that you can count on to talk to about choices you need to make or ideas that you might have and want to share. I think this group really knows that you bring a lot to the table and can really add to any workplace that you decide you want to be a part of. And we just want to help you, figure out what's going to be the best workplace or career pathway for you. I also want to thank our Bunker Hill faculty and staff who are here today. Suman, I saw you, and I want to let everyone on this call know that Suman has recently taken the position of STEM coordinator at Bunker Hill. And so I think we will be hearing a lot from him as well going forward to help this initiative as well as others to work closely with our student groups and facilitate things that can be of benefit to everyone. So thanks again to our partners for putting this on. And I hope that you'll take this opportunity as students to let us hear you and talk about what it is that you hope to get out of this program as well. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Amanda, Karen, and Laura. My name is Rose de Guzman. I am a scientist and neuroscientist and postdoctoral fellow at Mass Gen and Harvard Med. And so the picture to your right, this is a photo of a neuron, and it's from a human brain cell. And so at the bottom here, there are like A and B options. And that's what I thought my options were when I started at a community college. And even to backtrack and to answer the question that we'll ask you, the students, what was your dream job when you were a kid? My dream job was to be an illustrator, like drawing for children's books, and even like work on like possibly movies down the line. But that was like my dream. But I was separated from my family for 10 years. My family immigrated here from the Philippines. And during that time, we were all together again. And I wanted to get to know them, of course. And so I stayed in my hometown and attended Santa Rosa Junior College, where I took my first bio class, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this bio class is amazing. I have so many questions. And so that's when I explored, options in the science and medicine. And I was like, oh, okay, it looks like I have like two options, nursing and med school. And that was all that I knew, just because I had a lot of family members who were in nursing school, and those are like the two options, and they're wonderful options. And so what I ended up doing was, okay, within the science, it looks like nutrition science is really interesting to me. So I ended up transferring to a 4-year university in California. So I'm from California. So I got my bachelor's in nutritional biochemistry, and it wasn't until I transferred there that I learned about research. And I was so excited, and I joined like 3 lab research programs. And it wasn't until like the last semester that I learned about neuroscience. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah. So I could have like a healthy body, but if my brain isn't there, then I need to like learn more about the brain. So then I became a lab technician in a neuroscience lab at UCLA in Los Angeles. And from there, got my PhD in behavioral neuroscience in upstate New York, because I always wanted to live in New York, but I wanted to also explore upstate. And so I did that. And then I'm now here at MGH, where we're currently studying how SARS-CoV-2 infection, in mothers could potentially affect the baby's brain. And so I just wanted to show, like, with this image, I started with like 2 options. And then from there, I kept going from one pathway to another. And then like, there are just so many options out there that I didn't even know about that existed. And even until now that I'm deciding, like, am I going to continue into the academic route or the industry route? There are still so many options that I'm continuing to uncover, even though after getting my bachelor's, after transferring. And so I am still on the same boat as you. And it's always great to have those connections and that community that you can lean on as you navigate the medical and the scientific fields. And that's what we hope to provide for you. Starting in the community college, it's a great environment, and we want you, if you think that science and medical field is for you, then we want to help you make your mark in the fields, because we truly think that you belong here, and your unique experiences and background is what is needed in leadership in science and medicine. And so enough about us. You'll learn more about us throughout the semester. We would love to hear from you and meet you. And so if you'd like to participate in this portion and like unmute your mic, then please feel free to do so. And if you want to participate, then also start your video or turn on your video, and then we can popcorn to you. If you would like to stay and like type in your answer more in the chat, please do so. That would be fantastic. So this portion is called like the popcorn. So I introduced myself, and now I am going to popcorn it to a student, and each student will get about 10 seconds or so to say their name, their areas of interest, or if you're undeclared, that's cool too, because I was undeclared when I was at a junior college, and what your dream job was when you were a kid. Because I started from wanting to be an illustrator to now being a scientist. It's completely different paths. So it's just nice to get to know you. So I will popcorn it to Chantal. And you can unmute your mic. And then after you're done, you can popcorn it to someone else. So it's like a memory game too, because you have to figure out like who has gone and who hasn't and what you wanted to be when you were a kid.
Thank you. Okay, so my name is Chantel. Right now, I'm kind of studying a lot about environmental science and starting to like see the interest between medicine and science. I don't know, it's like kind of weird because environmental science has a lot of stuff to do with like medicine, like protecting, like sometimes like how you can make your medicine out of like stuff from the earth and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I wanted to be a doctor, but like that's been changing. So I've been trying like nursing for a while, then I changed to this. So, you know, I'm learning and enjoying the process. And I'm interested in, I'm just interested in learning about the sciences and stuff like that. All right, so I'm gonna popcorn it over to Erica.
Erica Wilson, Erica? Or a different Erica?
Yes, Erica Wilson.
Oh, hi. I'm Erica Wilson. I'm one of the doctors from Mass General Hospital. I have so many interests and had so many interests when I was younger. I think when I was little, I didn't really know what I wanted to be. I didn't really have a career aspiration. And I would never in a million years have ever thought that I would be a doctor when I grew up. And I'll tell you more about that when I tell you about my path to medicine. I will popcorn it to Zahara Mohammadi. Oh, you're muted, Zahra. Zahra, we can't hear you. Oh dear.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm Zahra Mohammadi. Nice to meet you all. And thank you for today and joining us and inviting us to this great meeting. Thank you all. I want to say that one of my great dreams from my childhood was to be a doctor, to help people, especially the people that that had not enough facilities and not enough equipment to get well. And that was my dream, to help people. And now I am a student at BHCC in the field of biomedical engineering. And this is the first semester that I get started. And I want to say that is my favorite major that I can do my goal in the future. And my field of interest is neuroscience and the fields that has a connection to neuroscience and health matters. Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead and popcorn it to someone else.
Yeah, I want to popcorn to Netta.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for inviting me to this meeting. I really appreciate it. Well, when I was a kid, I had different interests, and one of them was to become a computer science. But like when I grew up and I get familiar with medical field, because I was living in a family and my sister was MD, and I get interested in the field of medical. And one of my sisters suggests me, based on my potential, to study speech therapy. I start like working as a speech therapy for many years, and then I get interested into imaging techniques and the tools for testing the patients who are having like patients or they're having like neurological disabilities. And then I immigrate to US for studying and also for research. And and I start with some research in Northwestern with neurolinguistic research, and then I get interested into biomedical science to get more background of engineering to help me in future with engineering background in the field of neurology, and to find out more about engineering. It was one of the one of the things that I was always looking for. And I'm a prospective student of Bunker Hill Community College to get some credit in this college to get better in this field. And I hope in future I could connect these two fields together in this my research in neuroscience. Yeah, thank you so much. Should I popcorn someone else?
Yes, please. You did great, by the way.
I would like to popcorn to Salmon Mokrichi.
Okay, you can hear me, right, clearly?
Yes.
So it's to make the long story short. So after 9/11, me and my wife came to Texas for master's, then to New Mexico State for PhD, then moved to NIH for doc. I was with NIDDK, working with neurodegenerative disease and East as a model system. In 2 years, I lost interest in the bench science. I didn't enjoy much, so I moved to policy. Community college program, helping the science policy in the under office of director. It was a postdoctoral fellowship. Then I understood that I'm older and not a Harvard, Georgetown graduate. I used to work sometime in Capitol Hill, so I'm not there to get a policy job, and I don't have a law degree. So I moved to teaching. And because of my wife's job through Wisconsin, I ended up at Bunker Hill 2017. And rest is history. I love to teach, and this is the best place I can imagine to interact with students, faculty members, staff. And I taught here and there, Northeastern, Boston College, part-time, of course. And now, then I thought that yes, teaching, of course, nice, but I always wanted to work for STEM students full-time, and internship, collaboration, working with amazing university and biotech companies. So here I am. So thank you. And I popcorn to Sebastian Edward.
Oh, me? Oh, right. Sorry. Okay, I'm Sebastian. Well, yeah, and my major right now is electrical engineering, and it's not really like science based in a way, but it has something to do with technology. I want to fix electronic devices, in the near future. And am I aiming for Harvard right now? I just want to go to somewhere else like UMass in Boston, and yeah, I'm really working through my classes to get to that goal so I can have enough grades to graduate.
That's awesome. And I think we'll have
Yeah.
one time for one more person, but please, in the chat, we won't get to everybody, but we would really love to hear from all of you to share your name, your interests, and what your dream job was when you were a kid in the chat, and we'll definitely read that at the very end. So go ahead and popcorn it to someone. And I was made
Oh.
aware that Imran had a question or had your hand raised, so we'll get to your question afterwards. So Sebastian, if you could popcorn it to another student, this will be the
Another
last
student?
one.
Oh, of course, yeah. I popcorn Samuel.
Hi, my name is Sam. Uh, I got my BS in biomedical sciences at Sac State University in California last fall. I'm out here kind of taking more community classes just to ramp my resume for different colleges. But my dream job out of Pro State, and now I'm kind of looking into nursing more pathway for emergency medicine. So yeah, thank you. It's nice to meet everyone too.
Perfect, thank you. And let's see. Iman, you had a question earlier? You can unmute, there you go.
You can hear me?
Perfect, yes.
Oh. So hi everyone, thank you for coming here and being with us to support our dreams. My name is Iman Sharif and I am a student at Bunker Hill Community College with major in biomedical engineering. Also, I am a current research trainee with the SPARK program at Dana-Farber in the CTU department with the GI division at MGH. I dream to apply engineering principles within my major and help to prevent cancer. And also I intend to go to medical school within 3 years. So, and also I'm dreaming to become a pediatric neurosurgeon. And that's it.
Perfect, thank you. All right, yeah, and if everybody, I think people are typing their answers in the chat, which is fantastic. I'm so excited to read through those later on. I'm going to share my screen again and to go into our, let's see, screen 2. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So our initiative overview, there's so much to cover in this 1 hour, and I wish I had like 3 hours to chat with you all because it's so fun. Let's see here. So why are you wondering? Okay, there's probably like a ton of programs that you're made aware of, and why this initiative. And I just want to share a little bit of more background, how it started. This is something that I have been wanting to do for years now, ever since I was a community college student myself back in California. And in my years of experience, I have come to strongly believe that a diverse scientific community broadens scientific innovation. What do I mean by that? I mean, your unique experiences and background are exactly what we need in science and medicine. Your experiences and background are exactly what belong in medicine and in science. And I will say this multiple times throughout the year that we will be meeting, and because I want you to know that and realize that. I also want to even out the playing field among students who are particularly underrepresented in science and medicine, and give back to community colleges as well. So I mentioned earlier, community college allowed my family and me to pursue an education as first-gen college students, as immigrants, as low socioeconomic status. And I've personally experienced and also know the unique challenges, the hardships that are somewhat unique to community college students, balancing jobs and school and family responsibilities. I thank you actually there were so many students who reached out to me after the event in April, sharing like, oh yes, family responsibilities, that was like a big thing, and I completely empathize. And then the biggest thing was I just lacked this awareness of pathways, of awareness of scientific career paths outside of nursing school and medical school, which again are both great paths, and I can have like a lot of respect for nurses and physicians. So the overall goal of this initiative is to provide you with connections and help you build community within MGH, Bunker Hill, and Harvard Med affiliated schools, or hospitals, I should say. So here are just a little bit more detail about the workshop series and about the mentoring program. So the goal of the workshop is to provide resources and toolkits and set you up for success as you pursue your career in science and medicine. And then through the mentoring program, where you will be paired with mentors. So 2 to 4 mentees will be paired with 2 mentors. So that is to provide a more in-depth relationship and also communication between Mass General and Harvard postdoc associations, MGH professionals, and also get to know with like Bunker Hill deans and navigators. And so throughout the semester, you will meet and be connected with so many members of the community, and you can then email them directly, further deepen that connection. And that is the goal, is that we want you to know that there is an entire community here that want you to excel and want you to know that you belong within the science and medical fields. So we, of course, have ideas of the workshops, right, that we thought could help you, but knowing what you need is equally, if not more important than what we come up with, because there are different pathways in science and medicine. We've come up with, say, like my journey to becoming a ... a day in the life of a nurse, a social worker, a scientist. And then we've also thought about professional development, how-tos, how to get an internship that will provide the necessary experience to then get into med school, how to write a resume that's specific to science and medicine to get those internships, because you need to be able to write your experiences in a resume or a CV that will get you those jobs. And then how to manage time and balancing family and work responsibilities, because that's something that aren't talked about often, but we do have a lot of responsibilities as community college students. So these are just a few examples of what we would cover in the coming semester and 2, but we would love to hear from you. What workshops would be helpful to you, and think about yourself, and now think about like what other students might need, and then from there, the goal is to curate the workshop series and the mentoring program based on the workshops that you recommend, based on the topics that you recommend to us. So in the next 30 minutes, while we hear from our guests from MGH community, just think about that a little bit more, and then write your answers in the chat. And then during the Q&A feedback portion, feel free to unmute yourself and also, let us know verbally as well. I'm just going to pause now because I just said a lot. We have 2 minutes for questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to either raise your hand through the reactions or just unmute yourself. Do we have? Oh, go ahead.
My name is Abdullah. So I'm student at Bunker Hill and majoring in computer information system. And I want to know how this program can help the student in the tech industry.
Take into the industry, you said?
Yes. So because I see that this program is based in medicine and science, and how does it relate to technology, like computer and something?
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That's a great question. And when we talked about this with like a few colleagues of mine, they actually mentioned, and they are in the technology and engineering and industry, and they're like, how can we be part of this? So we can then bring in panelists with those backgrounds during the workshop series. So that is a fantastic recommendation. So we can do that. And then we can also bring in mentors for the mentoring program. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah, great question. And then I have a question from Raven. When you say semester, do you mean fall 2022? Yes, fall 2022. So we will gather all of the recommendations that you bring, that you will be sending us, and use this summer to then curate the workshop series and the mentoring program so that they can cover, what you recommend. Okay, Iman? This will be the last question. I'll answer more of the questions. Feel free to continue typing questions and we can answer them during the Q&A portion. I think Iman left. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move on with our agenda. So we have 3 amazing guests from our MGH community, and we are so grateful for them taking time from their busy schedules to speak with you. So we will start with Nancy and then Eric and Kyle.
Hi, thank you, Rose. My name is Nancy Mason. I am a nurse practitioner in the inpatient consultative palliative care service here at Mass General. I've been here for almost 7 years, and I've been a nurse for over 35, and my first degree was an associate degree in nursing at a community college in Detroit. I'm amazed at this initiative. This is like beyond wonderful. I come from a couple generations before you, and kind of like Rose was saying, what do you do? And I guess I didn't really have any aspirations either, as Erica was saying. I mean, my aspiration was to basically be able to afford a car and a roof over my head and food. And none of my family had ever come to college. And so I worked as a waitress, and I could afford to go to a community college and pay my way. I had no debt. All my tips paid for my community college way back then. So I chose nursing for kind of my life brought me there with personal experiences. And anyway, I have been able to go get 2 masters in nursing, and I have a job that is incredibly rewarding. I'm able to use all of my nursing skills. Palliative medicine, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but basically it's like the ultimate nursing job, looking at the whole person. So not just, the spiritual part or the physical part or the mental part or the emotional part. It's the community, it's the family. And I'm happy to talk to anybody about, how I can be helpful. So that's, I think, my 1 minute or more. Thank you, Rose.
Perfect, thank you.
And I'll just say hi again. My name is Erica Wilson, and I made a big mistake and left out an invitation to Leslie Cartagena, who's just joined us, who's one of our fantastic nurse practitioners, and is very excited about being in this program as well. Leslie, do you want to just say hi?
Yeah, sure. Can you guys hear me okay? Cool. So my name is Leslie Cartagena. I am a nurse practitioner in the Cancer Center Clinic for Palliative Care. And I am, let's see, I grew up in Boston. I went to UMass Boston for my nursing degree. And when I was at UMass, I was also a 1st-generation college student. My parents came from Puerto Rico and barely knew English, and they raised me here. And I'm the first one out of my siblings to go to college. And it was, really challenging to be the first. And while I was in school, there was a mentoring program for me. So I was a mentee with a mentor who was also Hispanic and a nurse, and was able to guide me through school and give me the encouragement that I needed, because it was so hard. I didn't have anyone else in my family who went to college or be a nurse or anything in the medical field. So this is super exciting. I'm super excited to be here. And now I started off as a nurse aide, then a nurse, and now I'm a nurse practitioner with a master's degree. And this is something that I never thought could happen when I was growing up. So I just want to encourage everyone out there that it is possible. And I hope that we can all work together sometime.
And I'll just say a few words about me. Everyone else has said so many things so eloquently, but I want to give a particular shout out to the older students. I didn't go back to school until I was much older. To the single parents, I'm a single mom, and my path, you all seem so incredibly thoughtful and dedicated, and like you actually have a path. My history in school started out with a lot of failure. I went to a whole bunch of different schools. I went to community college. I really couldn't find my way. And then I was doing some work in a kind of doing community organizing, and managed to get some computer skills, and went back and started taking some computer science courses. So shout out to the IS folks here. There's a lot of room for data and technology in medicine. We're desperate for you. We're really behind. And I went ultimately to a school for women returning to college that was in a pretty fancy school, a school called Mount Holyoke in Western Mass. And it never would have ever occurred to me to go into medicine, ever. And they made me take a lab science, and I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is something like I can do. And it was incredibly interesting. And I had a friend she was a Black girl, just like me, from Cleveland, Ohio. She grew up in public housing. She was just so regular. And she was applying to medical school. And I was like, if Angie can apply to medical school, maybe I can apply to medical school. And so I kept it a secret from my family, because it was very out of the box in my family for a long time. And I ended up applying, and my mantra to get through medical school was embrace mediocrity. And what I meant by that was basically just keep showing up. It didn't have to be the best, didn't have to do everything the right way. I just kept coming. And somehow I found myself to this amazing job with incredible colleagues. Some of my colleagues are here on this call. And I am really hoping that we can help give back to Boston, and that we can break down some of the barriers that exist around kind of fancy Harvard and fancy MGH, and whether you end up working in any of those places, that it's kind of our job to help out each other in the community here in Boston. So we have a deep commitment to equity in our division and in our hospital, and really hoping to make some changes. So thank you all for this incredible turnout. And I'll turn it over to Kyle.
Well, now I have to follow all of my incredible colleagues. But good afternoon, everyone. It's great to see all of you and to see such a great turnout. So I'm a social worker in the palliative care division at MGH. And similar to what my colleagues have shared, I'm a first-generation college student in my family, and I grew up in a very, very tiny town in the Midwest of less than 2,000 people. So growing up, I didn't even know social work was a job. And so my parents were very supportive of me going to school, but it was something that they knew nothing about. And I kind of had to navigate that on my own, which was very scary and very overwhelming. I went to a pretty large four-year state school for my undergrad, and kind of fumbled my way through to finding social work. I didn't kind of have an identified kind of mentor, or kind of knew what path I wanted to take, and just kind of fell into a social work course. And then kind of the rest of my journey kind of followed from there. One of my professors at the time was doing forensic social work and was teaching courses on death and dying, gerontology, kind of aging populations. And that was something that I had never connected kind of social work with kind of those topics before, and thinking about it from like a medical background. Most of my early experience to social work was working with children and families. And so kind of really thinking that it could be in the medical field was kind of mind-blowing for me. So I finished my undergraduate degree, and then went to a 2-year master's program here in Boston at Simmons College. And after my master's, I got a certificate in the treatment of trauma, and then did a postmaster's fellowship at Beth Israel in their cognitive neurology unit as well. And so, yeah, I think along the way, kind of having to find my path, but kind of finding mentors, and I feel incredibly lucky to be where I am. If I kind of went back and thought like I'm this kid from a town of less than 2,000 people, not a single stoplight in the town, and now I am working in a program that's connected to Harvard, is just kind of mind blowing. But what I'm really excited about is in this program is getting to hear what you're passionate about and kind of your stories, and kind of seeing that there's no one path to kind of make your way somewhere, but it's all about kind of figuring out the path that works best for you. And really excited to be a part of this program. Thank you.
That's so beautiful. Thank you all so much. So we're so fortunate to have Nancy, Erica, Kyle, and Leslie share their stories. And so this is just a taste of what is to come for the initiative, for the mentoring program, and also the workshops. So if you are interested in joining, let me share my screen again. Let's see. So yeah, please let us know. Please let us know, because what you want is how we will then curate the workshop and the mentoring program with meeting more people. So in the group or in the chat room, there are a lot of questions, and there are some questions for clinical hours, which I am not the right person to answer that, but Dr. Wilson, I'm sure would be happy to answer it. I think there was a question asking how to receive clinical hours before going to med school.
Good question. I'll start by saying I didn't do anything right. So what I'm going to say is just I'm kind of making up. There you can get internships. Probably I don't know if you're going into medicine, how you get clinical hours. I guess you could try and shadow people, but you don't really. I mean, the truth is you don't need clinical hours to go to medical school. That's completely unnecessary.
It's provided when you are in school. They create the hours for you, right?
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Similar to nursing, at least, you know, that's part of school, where that's part of your program, is that they tell you where you need to get. They have a coordinator that helps you get the hours that you need. And I'm not sure if it's the same with social work, but I think every program has their own way of how you get clinical hours. But if you want, before you get into a program, if there are ways that you want to be introduced or immersed into the field, then you can volunteer or try to shadow by meeting someone maybe like us, and we can try to help coordinate something like that, or within your program or within your school. I hope that helps answer the question a little bit. Sorry to interrupt, Erica. I love you.
No, thank you for doing it.
I'm not the one of the presenter, but I have walked the same path in the process of trying to go to med school. One of the options that's out there for student is aspiring to go to medical school, NP program, or PA school, is what's called a scribe. You can work as a scribe for doctors and nurses. It's obviously like an entry-level position, but you get to work alongside doctors and PAs. And in the meantime, you make up those hours, whichever route you're going to. And it's honestly, it's a standard throughout the country. So that should work for you guys. And after you work for like a few months as a scribe, you can even sign up as a MA medical assistant, which gives you a basic introduction to what medicine is like. Just sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. Don't apologize. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think one of the reasons the clinical hours thing is coming up, because I think to go to PA school, I kind of vaguely remember I have a cousin who went to PA school. I think you do need actual clinical hours. And so some people do, yeah, like scribing or becoming, in EMS and ride in ambulances or EMTs, those kinds of things. But that is not required to go to medical school. So fine to do if you're interested, but not required.
Perfect. Great. And there is a question. I want to know that as a biomedical engineering, can we do volunteer research assistant with you and your team? So we have a ton of people in the committee. And so that's what the workshops will also cover. And also the purpose of the mentoring program is if you choose a topic of interest, then we will find someone who has that background. And then from there, build those connections, build that relationship with the mentors. And so you'll be assigned to about a couple mentors or so. And then the workshops can help, prepare your resume, prepare how to cold email people. And so that's what the workshop will hopefully do. In our lab specifically, we don't do biomedical engineering, but I'm sure that, as we have more workshops and panel speakers, someone will have that background. And I would recommend just shooting that person an email and asking what are the opportunities out there for students like myself to volunteer in your lab. Okay, perfect. I'm just scrolling through the chat right now. Employment opportunities within the program. So I think that ties in with similar to volunteering and joining teams, is that these hopefully, because employment and experience is what will help you get into more jobs down the line. And please, all of our organizers, chime in as well if you have answers. But from what I was envisioning is that making these connections will hopefully provide those opportunities for you, provide employment down the line. Hey, mentor, I love working with you. We have a great relationship. Is it possible for me to volunteer at your work, which would then open up doors for potential future employment. Dr. Wilson, did you want to say something? I see you unmuted.
Oh, I've just been unmuted. But yes,
Oh, okay.
I'd agree with Rose, though. I might, I'll leave it at that. Yeah, you should definitely reach out. I think it's going to be, I think the goal of this program is not specifically around finding jobs. So just to kind of set the expectation, or even necessarily around getting internships, which I think may be challenging to go from, to actually intern in a clinical setting, but getting some time to actually see what a clinical setting looks like, or talking to clinicians, and figuring out, are there ways that we can help, is definitely what we're hoping to do.
Beautiful. So how do we get assigned to mentors? Yes, I would love a mentor. Same. I would love a mentor, all in caps. How do we get assigned to one? Okay, yes, beautiful. Same, says Maya. Okay, so that will be with the mentoring program. And I am not sharing my screen right now, correct? Are we able to see each other?
You are sharing
so-
right now.
Oh, I am sharing. Sorry. Okay, stop share so we can see each other. So we will follow up with everybody. So we're towards the end of the meeting, which I'm really sad about because we've thoroughly enjoyed chatting with you all. So we will follow up with a survey and asking you, are there any ideas that you would want the programs to cover? What workshops would be helpful to you? What structure would be helpful to you in the mentoring program? And then I'll share my screen again. So be on the lookout for that survey and an email from us. Dr. Rubin will also have more insight if you want to share a little bit more, but we will send out a follow-up and, think about it for the next week or so. think about truly what you want out of this initiative, because it is for you. I do want to emphasize that. And send us an email. So stay in touch. You can email us either through the Mass General Postdoc Association at partners.org. You can also email STEM@BHCC. I've also added my email here if you want to email me. I am out on maternity leave right now, so it might take me a while to respond to emails, but I will get to your email and I will respond. It might just take me a while, so it might even be best to just email either MGPA or STEM@BHCC. Dr. Rubin, would you like to share a few more of like what to expect next?
So I think based on our the feedback from today, so some of you have already completed a survey that answered or addressed some of the questions about what topics you're most interested in. I think even if you've already completed that survey, it might make sense for you now that you've come to this session to reflect a little bit and then re-answer the survey. I'll be sending out a follow-up. I'm not going to do it until after the 4th of July because I think we should take this time for ourselves and have a little bit of a break. And I know classes are still going on and you still have a lot to do, you're working and everything, but I hope that you're able to find time for yourself and family and whatever's important to you this weekend, and expect to hear from me with a reminder about the survey or any feedback that you would like to give. I'll add a question to the survey that allows for open feedback and, again, ask for your voice in this because we want to create something that you will enjoy participating in. And we definitely heard, I think, the enthusiasm around being matched up with in a one-to-one situation with mentors. And Kyle, I had mentioned this to Erica earlier, we will be broadening the student base to those that are starting our pre-social work programs and so forth in other divisions outside of the science, engineering, and math. And to Abdullah's earlier question, will include the IT folks because there is going to be a boom between tech and health for sure. And we would like for you all to be at the head of that if it's an interest to you. You certainly can email the STEM address. That comes to me. It's just another way to contact me, as well as our STEM advisor and soon Dr. Mukherjee as well. So it's a good address for any questions that you might have related to the program.
I'm sorry. I don't know if I can still post or ask this question because we said it's the end of the meeting. I am already in like a medical assistant thing. I start externship at Tufts.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I'm sorry, I got my 2-year-old with me.
A future scientist as well.
Yes. I was wondering because it's I have a 2-year-old. I don't work. I'm a full-time student on top of doing the medical assistant program. So not only am I doing a medical assistant program separate from Bunker Hill, I'm also a full-time Bunker Hill student. And I was wondering if possibly afterwards, if I could speak to one of the doctors at MGH to see if after I finish this externship at Tufts, I can do like an internship or something different at MGH.
So I think to answer your question about participation, I think everyone here has the opportunity to benefit from learning more about their current pathway or other pathways. And we will, certainly do our best to connect you with mentors that are in the right field. I'm not sure that we can guarantee a conversation today because people may already have commitments starting at 2 o'clock. But if you make sure that I have your contact information, we can get that process started for you. And, knowing that whatever we schedule in the fall may not always meet with everyone's personal schedule, given everything that's going on, we do hope to have, some conversation among the organizing group about how we can have alternate access to folks who are not quite able to meet something scheduled or to ask specific questions related to their own situation. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Brianna. If you could make sure that I have your contact information, we'll get you connected.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a quick question, if you guys don't mind. Is this program applicable to those who might be transferring to a bachelor program or graduating in the fall as well?
Yes, I would say so. And I think having it be online is really beneficial and will help with that flexibility.
We definitely want to stay in touch with you as a Bunker Hill alumni, and what we can do to support you, within our resource limitations, we are happy to do. So I would say, again, keep in touch with us. We know that sometimes people pop into Bunker Hill for short periods of time and move on, come back. You are our student, no matter. And so we want to make sure that you have connections as well.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Also, I
Thank
was
you
gonna
so
ask-
much. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, we'll have one last question.
sorry.
no
Can you
worries.
guys email everything that you guys went over? Like the programs and everything?
Yes, this session is recorded, so that might even be better. So then you can
Okay.
hear everything. So yeah,
Okay.
that will be provided, and Dr. Rubin will be able to send that out to everybody. Okay, so
I would say
that
just give
wraps
us a
up-
little bit of time on that, because
Yeah, that might be.
But I just want to take this opportunity while we're closing to thank the organizers of this event and the enthusiasm from Dr. de Guzman. It's just so inspiring as well. And I'm so happy to see Erica and Kyle and Nancy and everyone who participated, Amanda, everyone who participated here today. This is, I think, a collaboration that will really serve our community and continue to build, what we want to build for and with Bunker Hill students. I'm excited to do that. And I know we're a little bit over, so we will, you are free to leave the meeting from now. I think we should stop the recording, and we will say good afternoon for now, and you can look out for an email either from STEM at